Hello and welcome to the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Car.Ross Sr. And this platform was created to motivate and to inspire in hopes that you will become a better you. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that's listening all over the world, especially those right here in our own backyard. Thank you guys for tuning in. And again, we're so happy that Brittany Griner is home. You know, we've been shouting her out here at the Ross Cloud Podcast. So thank you so much for all of the prayers that you guys sent out for Brittany Griner. She is home, y'all. Yes, indeed. So listen, I have a very, very special guest in the building with us on today. We have the one and only Miss Precious. Precious, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us on the Ross Cloud Podcast. Really do appreciate you for gracing us with your presence on today.
I appreciate you having me.
Yes, yes. So let's go ahead and get right into it. As you know, the premise of the show is to help people become better through your stories, through conversation. And we have you here today. So let's go ahead and get started. Precious, where you from?
I am from Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Okay, right on.
I am a military brat, so right outside of Camp Lejeune. That's me.
Right on, right on, right on. I love it. I love it. So that means you got some great discipline as you were growing up, right?
Absolutely.
I know
that
I'm a veteran.
That was a great way to put it.
I understand. Yeah. We were brought up to, my dad's ex-military, so we were on military, we was on the post too. So I get it. And then I went further on and went to the military too. So I understand.
Yes, I became a rebel at a very young age. So
I love it.
I remember saying something to my dad about the military, and he got me to the recruiter's office that day.
I got you. I absolutely love it. And so what was life like for you growing up in Jacksonville, North Carolina?
Jacksonville was very stern. As you said, very disciplined. Yeah. I grew up as an only child. My mother, Sheila Bradley, is a native of Jacksonville.
Your mom's name Sheila?
Her name is Sheila.
My mama named Sheila.
Oh my gosh, I have to meet your mama.
You gotta meet her. I love it.
Yes, twins.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yes, and she's a native of Jacksonville. So growing up in Jacksonville looked like growing up with a bunch of cousins. Looked like living in the country.
For sure.
But still, Jacksonville is like the biggest city of all the country in eastern North Carolina.
Okay.
So feeling like I'm someplace and I'm not at the same time. It's how growing up in Jacksonville felt like.
I got you. Did you ever work on a farm at all? Any farming at all in your life?
Farming, not necessarily farming, but picking grapes.
That's enough.
Is it? Okay.
You good.
Like seeing the trees, like the deer, the wildlife, like coming back in the house and my mom be like, you went outside in the woods.
I love it.
Go take a bath. Right now.
Oh, man, I almost pulled my doggone head and said,
you did.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's a good upbringing, though. So how has that upbringing brought you up? How is that? How has that impacted your life, the way you were brought up? How has that impacted your life before we get into what you do?
Absolutely. So growing up, first off, with a 2-parent home definitely impacted my life. And I didn't see that how much it impacted my life until I came here to Greensboro and started studying at A&T.
Aggie Pride. Right, worldwide.
365.
I love it. Yes.
So what growing up in Jacksonville, it gave me my spiritual foundation.
Oh, good.
That has set me aside.
I love
it. My mother was someone who was very vocal. So being a Black woman in the South, as vocal as she was, I definitely carried that with me.
Right on.
And I feel like a lot of that is why I have the accomplishments that I do have.
I love it.
So yeah, those were some of those things that set me aside. And I do feel like that came specifically from my parents.
Absolutely. Well, your mama name was Sheila. I know she was vocal.
Oh, Sheila. Yeah.
I hated when people sung that song, though.
Don't say that about my mama.
What? That's a different kind of song,
don't you do that.
right?
Only I can sing it.
Right.
And we stop right there. That's the end of the song.
Right there. You know? I love it. I absolutely love it. So what was college like for you?
Oh, college was the best years of my life. I know it's cliche.
Yeah,
Everybody says that, but
your perspective, though.
Right.
Yeah, all right.
College was where I felt like I gained my freedom. Because my mother, in high school, I was a caregiver. So my mother was diagnosed with diabetes in 1982. And so she had been really sick throughout my childhood. So me taking that time away and wanting to further my education, being at a place where I can get all the education I needed. So when I was in school in Jacksonville, like in high school, I've always been somebody who was very hands-on. So I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that.
Sure.
But with my father, it was just me and him.
Yeah.
Precious, you got to come home. I need somebody to cook dinner. Transportation was a real issue.
Okay.
So being at Aggie Land, my feet was my transportation.
Right.
No, for real, I had holes in the bottom of my shoes first semester.
Wow.
Because I was walking so much on campus, but I had nobody to tell me I couldn't do anything. There was no limits.
Yes.
And so I really was able to explore my individuality and who I was and who I wanted to be at A&T.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Such a great, great story about college.
Yes.
People need to understand that you worked hard, and it wasn't just the work. It was also some of the tumultuous things you had to do that surrounded college.
Absolutely.
Everything you had to do, like the walking and the perseverance that it took, the late nights of studying, all those things develop us as we get older. And truly, it has developed you. Because I can just tell from the energy just right here on the platform for us first meeting. I love this. I think it's wonderful. If there was something that you could say before we further this conversation, if you could say something to the young woman that was in college, or just to a woman specifically, that young girl, older girl, as they get ready to transition into college or just becoming who they are, what could you say to them that could impact their lives to help them to further their education and how important education is? I gave you two questions in one. Really.
Yes. So number one, the one thing that I would say to the young Black female who is looking to further their education is to stay grounded. Stay grounded in who you are and who you want to be. Because there's a lot of outside influences that tells young Black girls who they are or what they should be.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that young Black girl doesn't find out who she's supposed to be until her 40s or her mid 30s. And then by that time, she may feel that she missed out on some things.
Yeah.
So for me, as an example, I love to always make it personal.
Sure.
Because there's just so many experiences out there that hasn't been told. But for me, going through my journey, I feel like it's a never ending journey of staying grounded and finding yourself, because as a human being, we are forever evolving.
Yes.
So changes is always constant. But I've been reading Sacred Woman by Queen Afua.
Afua. Yeah,
and
talk about it.
She, some of those things that I have read in that book, I was just wondering, like, how impactful would it have been if I heard it this way at an earlier age?
Yes.
I'm grateful to the divine to be able to get the information now
Yeah.
Because there are some women that are getting it later in life. I'm 31, so there are some women that don't get it until they hit menopause and those later stages. But yes, stay grounded.
Yeah.
Get that education, whatever that looks like for you.
Yes.
Because when you're grounded, you're able to trust your intuition. You're able to have discernment, and those two things are what's going to carry you the most.
I love it. I love it. This is so refreshing, though. You have no idea. This is so refreshing. I'm telling you, I love it. You have some great parents. Great parents. Your foundation is solid just based off of your answer.
Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. We need to hear these type of stories. We need to hear more young black women speaking this way and talking this way. And I absolutely love it.
Thank you.
I embrace it and I love it.
Thank you.
Yes, you are so very, very welcome. So you went through college, you graduated from college. Did you pledge?
I did not pledge.
Okay. Any particular reason why you didn't pledge?
Because I was broke.
That is the realest answer ever, and I love it.
I was trying to make it through college,
Come on
honey.
now.
I was trying to get that tuition money added up. You said pledge.
I know you said you could pledge to my account.
I pledged me 5 million. Broke 5 broke.
Talk about the real. I absolutely love it.
But also because I was a transfer student.
Okay.
So I graduated high school in 2009 and I went to community college for a year because I was still taking care of my mother and trying to figure out like how to navigate, like what is next.
Sure.
And so I came to A&T, I think spring of 2010.
Okay.
And was determined to graduate 2013 with my original class.
Come on now.
Because I was like, nope, this is not going to stop me. So my course load was a lot heavier. Yeah. Because trying to get those credits that wouldn't transfer and stuff like that. Yeah. But I was very involved. I was an RA on campus. Shout out to Morrow Barbie Hall. Right on. I was in SGA. I was vice president of external affairs. Okay. For SGA A&T. So I planned 2012, 2013 GHO.
I love it.
So that was a big thing. It was a record smashing GHO.
Come on now, talk your
act
talk.
Like you know.
I love it.
So yeah, I was real busy on campus. Unfortunately, I wasn't allotted the privilege to pledge.
Sure.
But yes.
Oh, you did some work though.
Well, we was on the grounds getting
right on. I was getting it for real. I love it. I absolutely love it. So you graduated and you finished. And now that you finished, did you decide on what it is that you wanted to do before you came out, or did you make that decision once you graduated? And then we'll talk about what it is that you do.
Right. So I went to school for journalism and mass communication, concentration in broadcast production.
Come on, let me give you a hand clap. I love it. We need more.
Crosby kid. Come on. Shout out to all my professors.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Go ahead.
And I've always had an inclination of what I wanted to do. Yeah. But the opportunity just never really folded. Sure. But I have a lot of strength and I have a big skill set. So for me, graduating, I was like, I am not going back to Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Right on.
So
in your greatest Southern voice, dialect that you said, so I love it.
Yeah, you have to switch it on, switch it off.
Switch it on and switch it off. I'm with you, sister. Go ahead.
And I was determined not to go back. Yeah. I had a job offer. Well, kind of a job offer. It was it was called City Year. City Year. It's a nonprofit organization under AmeriCorps. Yes. And you would go to a a low income community. They put me in the hood. Okay. I was supposed to educate my people in the hood, which I was completely for, because I spent time at A&T, working as a, Upward Bound mentor.
I went to Upward Bound. I love that. That's so important.
And it was so important to me too, because I'm first generation college student. Growing up in Jacksonville, not really having anybody around me that went to college, like I was already an outsider just because I went to college.
Sure.
And she graduated. Oh Lord. So
yes, sir.
Having that service opportunity there, I was like, I'm gonna go for that.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was an easy way for me to tell my father what I was doing, because it had the word core in it. So I was like, it's almost like the military kind of.
You didn't give it to him, did you?
And he was like, okay, well, where we going? And I was like, I got to see where I'm going to be stationed at.
You had to sell them
using military terms. I was stationed in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where they got the base out there. And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, well, it's not really Jacksonville, Florida. And then when I got down there, that was my first experience of applying for food stamps, because it was an AmeriCorps program. So they weren't giving us a paycheck. We were just getting stipends.
Yeah.
And this was my first apartment.
Yes.
And because I stayed on A&T campus all my years.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, oh, I got an apartment. I have to pay bills. And so,
I love this.
Yeah. So, I knew I was going to do AmeriCorps or City Year before I graduated.
Okay.
I spent that summer before graduation at Fayetteville State University, where
Broncos.
All
right.
There's some Broncos in the room.
Yes, it is.
And I spent my last summer there.
Yeah.
And then after that, packed up my stuff and we went to Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
I stayed in Jacksonville, Florida for about 3 years.
Okay.
And I was just working in education. And that's kind of where my career was led to.
I got you.
And I just kind of followed the money, followed the opportunities.
Yeah.
Always trying to implement journalism in whatever I was doing.
Absolutely.
The after school clubs, I was the journalism teacher, the TV studio teacher and stuff like that. Just still trying to stay connected to my roots.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I'm excited. Now, see, I didn't even know that about you. Mass communication and journalism.
Yes. This is home.
I love this. I absolutely love this. Yeah. This is just absolutely amazing. Sometimes later in life, sometimes you get things and you find out who you are, sometimes later in life. That's how it happened for me. I didn't realize that I had a love for this too, right? Mm-hmm. But to meet someone at a younger age that has actually saw it all the way through. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have you on this platform.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, because see, I can learn from you. I
can learn from you. It's
right on.
Positive exchange, equal exchange of
you know
energy.
What I'm saying?
Yes.
I love it. And I heard you speak about, and we're going to get into that, but I heard you speak about your mother and diabetes.
Yes.
And that's something that impacts our community quite a bit, whether it's diet, whether it's culturally, the way that we eat.
Even environmentally. Yeah.
Could you speak on that just a little bit, and then we'll go into what you do?
Absolutely.
You got an amazing story, too.
Thank you.
So go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So my mother was diagnosed with diabetes in 1982. When I was in the 3rd grade, she went into a diabetic coma. So she was in a coma for about 21 days. And after she came out, I was just really there, first account, seeing like what it's like to be an adult and have to build yourself up from scratch. So learning how to walk again, learning how to talk again.
Yes.
But also seeing like the strength and the courage that my mother had throughout that ordeal was super powerful.
Yeah.
So yes, I I take my health very seriously because of the things that I've witnessed my mother go through. And when we talk about, when I talked about environmentally, I'm speaking on like the location she was born in, right? Because right now there is like a class action lawsuit that's going down in Camp Lejeune. And it's about the water contamination. So we talk about Flint, Michigan.
Come on.
North Carolina, Jacksonville has been contaminated since 1955, and my mother was born in 1955. So a lot of the issues that my mother had, and even her siblings had throughout their life, her family members, like they grew up drinking that water their whole lifetime. So that's one thing when we're talking about environmentally. We also have to talk about our diet and our exercise with her growing, and this still ties into environmentally.
Absolutely.
Because her growing up in the rural South, they're going to eat more pork. That pork has now since transformed, because you talk to anybody in the South, anybody they'd be like, no, this ain't the same pork, because the pork what we fed our pigs is different than what y'all feed y'all pigs today. And there's some truth in that.
Some truth.
Absolutely. So but we know today that that's not the best route.
No, it's not. We got to do better.
We got to do better.
We do.
And so seeing my mother suffer from many cancer scares, through her having to have her leg amputated, through her having kidney, going to dialysis 3 times a week, from her having to have her eye taken out because of renal disease, from the kidneys. It's going to her eyes now, so she doesn't have eyesight. Having to have a hoister to lift her up, to put her in her chair every day, or to wash or brush her teeth, provide her meals. Those are all things that after she passed away my junior year of college.
Condolences.
Thank you. And so having to see her suffer, and as much as she suffered when she passed away, I was like, okay, we got to do a lifestyle change. And lifestyle, not diet. There's a difference.
There's a difference.
There's a difference.
You're absolutely right.
And so when I moved to Florida, I wasn't in a good headspace, because it was just so many transitions. I hadn't had the opportunity to process everything. And then coming into this new space, Florida got some good food, y'all.
They really do.
It's so many cultures.
Come on now,
I was just like, oh my God, this food is so good. And my emotions wasn't matching with what I was eating. So I had got up to like 180 pounds. And I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, Precious, where did you go?
Yeah, I understand.
It was so much of Precious. And so
ouch.
I had to.
I'm guilty right now.
Remember, I said I was speaking about myself.
No shots at you. Hey,
no bang bang.
Hey, trust me. But what you're speaking is truth, though. And
Absolutely.
if it's ouch to you as an individual, then you know you need to make some changes.
Yes.
So keep speaking, sister.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to hear this.
Now we want to talk about Precious with the chicken. I knew it was going to come. It's either one or the other. Just as long as you don't hit me with both at the same time.
We going to hit you with both at the same time, right? We got Mike Anderson in the building.
We got to that. Precious was looking like Precious.
Right. I got you,
And I started experiencing health issues, reproductive issues. And so I said, well, maybe this is tied to what I'm eating.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot of good old aunties down there in Florida.
Come on now.
And they will grab your hand and teach you about the herbs, about the minerals, about what you need to put in your body. So I had to take a trip to Broward County and fill up.
I understand.
Fill up on some herbs and get what I needed. And so from there, that's how I started my journey into finding myself, learning more about my history, who I am as an African woman, and what we need to eat, what we need to do to survive.
Yes.
And so from there, I was able to heal myself from my issues. I had dropped my weight. I had dropped about over 50 pounds. And I just started living a healthier lifestyle.
That's good.
And from that is how I started growing my business.
I love it.
Into what it is today.
Which is a great segue. Let's talk about the business that you've created. But I just love your story.
Thank you.
Because I didn't know your mother had passed away during your junior year in college. So that speaks volumes about you, too, and how you were able to continue to grow and become who you are through that adverse time. Because that's mom.
Yes.
That's mom.
Yes.
So to see you still persevere and push to that mark, that high calling that God had for you is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, let's talk about Precious and what Precious does and what it has taken for you to build this business that you have now.
Absolutely. So we're going to come back to the way I healed myself, because that's part of the journey.
Yes.
But right now, I am a serial entrepreneur.
Come on now.
My main business is Precious Cargo Doula Services.
I love the name.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Let's talk about that.
Yes. Here at Precious Cargo, we provide physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual support to diverse families who seek a holistic approach during pregnancy and childbirth.
Wow.
So I assist in childbirth. I don't do anything medical. So I am not a midwife, but you can look at me as a midwife.
I was about to say that. But
yes.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Absolutely, because this is also an important part, is educating people on the term doula. So that's what I am. I am a doula. Growing up with my mother, I always heard stories about my great-grandmother, Sia, and she was the neighborhood catcher.
Come on.
And so hearing stories about like how she would go throughout the area and help people who were sick, or how her grandchildren can come to my Sia and we could ask her like, I'm sick, what are your ailments? And she was just the local medicine woman.
Yeah.
And so I always grew up knowing them as a catcher. They help with delivering babies. So it wasn't until after I graduated college that I learned what the term doula is and decided to incorporate that in my life. The reason why I became a doula was because I felt this was a way for me to fight systematic racism within the healthcare system. So Black women are 3 to 5 times more likely to die during childbirth and delivery than our uneducated counterparts. So even I am susceptible to this statistic.
Yeah.
And it's very trying. It's very hard. When we talk about Black Lives Matter, we have to realize that starts at infancy. And so with our babies, whether they're a Black male or a Black female, they are going to grow up, and we already know what times we are living in. Absolutely. And we already know what we are subjected to.
Yes.
So my goal as a doula for Precious Cargo Doula Services is to have more positive birth experiences for our Black community.
Girl, I need my black glove on right now. I love you, sister.
I love you.
And I mean that.
And I mean that.
I mean that.
Yes.
You're tapping into ancestry. You old way.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved it. I promise you, I will cry, but this right here really does my heart good, because I wish more of us would understand the value that we have in our communities and the power that we possess when we tap into our ancestors and actually what they mean to us. You have really, as soon as you said doula, I said, yeah, young sister, you understand.
So
it really is doing my heart good. try not to get too emotional, but
It's beautiful.
Mike knows my heart. I'm all about our community. I love our people, and I love when our young people just get it.
Yes.
And they understand what this is for us as a people. So you're doing my heart good. It just really is.
I love when we reconnect with who we really are.
Yes,
Yeah.
man.
It gives us the opportunity to have the knowledge.
And it's never too late.
No, it's not. It's not. Because what happens is there's this thing called lost in translation. And Kemet and Timbuktu
Yes.
was our place of medical knowledge. Yeah. But it wasn't the medical knowledge that the Westerners had put together. So the fact that when she mentioned doula off top, 'cause my grandmother was a practitioner for healthy childbirth out of St. Lucia. And the only reason why she was from St. Lucia was because, that's where some of the slaves escaped to, Haiti, all those other places. And they didn't stay removed from the knowledge of our ancestry.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro.
So the fact that she's even reconnected with it gives us the opportunity
Yes.
to reteach it, to perpetuate it back into our community. Because
Yes.
in all actuality, when you're talking about the thing that she just said, that our sisters are more than likely to die from childbirth. There's a documentary that just came out at the event that I was just talking about earlier, the American Black Film Festival,
Yes.
that was based on that.
Got you.
And there was 2 doulas that was in that movie. And when I realized that when you're talking about epidurals and all this other stuff, you're increasing the chance. Because of the African American blood types that we exist, we're the A negatives, AB positives, and the O universals and all of that.
Yeah.
Those blood types are allergic. They're allergic to such things as epidurals and all these other things that can create complications in the womb and all of this stuff.
Yes.
But the doula is designed spiritually to comfort the person during such a birth.
Yes.
To comfort the person psychologically and make sure that person has a very even if, because they don't just assist in birth, they
Right.
assist in stillbirth, they assist in miscarriages,
Death doula, postpartum.
their whole thing is
Everything.
all
The
of
whole
it.
existence.
So
existence of it.
what you're doing now is you're becoming a counselor, a priestess, a psychologist,
love
and
it.
every single thing that you could be in the moment based
love
on
it.
your spiritual existence.
Yes.
So in order for her to be successful in it, she has to be right.
Oh,
So that's
yes,
why
sir.
we love her,
Hey.
because she is love.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why we love her.
Yes, man. Thank you, Mike Anderson, for your input,
Thank
brother.
you.
Can you get it on there?
Oh, you guys are filling me up.
I know.
I
No,
love
thank
it.
you, Mike, for you. No, thank you for interjecting. Nah, bro, you good. This family here, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, you fine. You fine. But continue. I'm sorry. I
Absolutely.
probably started it, but
It's okay.
Listen,
I
man,
was doing good.
yeah, man. You know,
I'm a waterfall.
Yeah, right. I'm just big on showing other sides of our community, every facet, because we are beautiful people. There's so much to us. You
Absolutely.
just can't put us in a rabbit hole. You can't-
Absolutely.
Of civilization. We created
Yes.
this world, every hue of
Come on, Mike.
blackness, from
Come on.
high yellow to jet black.
Yeah,
Yes.
Come on.
Just like that over there.
Just like that over there.
Period.
Look over here, we look
Look
the same way
over there. You're absolutely right, brother.
Ethiopia's everything. We're all-
Everything. Man, this is beautiful.
And,
Lord have mercy. Go ahead, sister.
I just want to drop the mic on this one
Go ahead, drop it.
because this past weekend I was working on my family tree
Wow.
to see if I can, find any. We had some new leaves, so I had to see what them leaves was talking about.
Come on now.
What does leaf do? What they talking about?
Yeah.
What they about to say? And the leaf that I found was from my 4th great grandmother.
Wow.
So shout out, say her name, Miss Leah Stanford. She was born in 1845. Her home in 1910 was in Kenansville, Duplin County, North Carolina.
Wow.
And this was the census, and I was able to see her occupation.
Oh.
And the occupation said midwife.
Heavy.
Occupation said sick nurse.
So you a hand-me-down.
Whew,
Exactly, a hand-me-down.
I've been a hand-me-down all my life, and I wanted to say hand-me-down when I was talking about all my cousins that I grew up with. But I said, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that.
Word,
but now we're going to bring it back and make it full circle.
Come on. I love it.
For 3 generations.
What?
Exactly.
What? So,
Wow, love is beautiful.
Yes. So I was about to say humble beginnings,
Yes.
like hand-me-downs.
Like hand-me-downs, right?
That's my home. And so
I love it.
See that,
Oh, man.
I did not know that about her.
Yeah.
Nobody had, told me that was
Sure.
her occupation. So
Sure.
to see that in writing, to see
I know,
that
right?
documented, I was like, this is bigger than me. Like it's okay. We'll just be little snotty head kids. It's okay.
Right?
But that right there. That right there was like, okay, that was my message from divine, from my ancestors.
Yes.
What you are doing, you are on.
Yes.
Thank you so much that you are on the right track.
Thank you, brother.
So that's the ancestral and background to it. So that's what
Absolutely
I do.
beautiful.
Not only do I assist in childbirth, but I also have a line of holistic products.
Yeah, let's talk about those products.
Yes, to help assist all of us, because we're all somebody's precious cargo.
That's right.
So we have to take care of ourselves first.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And so some of those things that those women taught me in Florida, I was able to incorporate in my line of yoni steams, which is steaming for womb health. And so instead of us women doing dishes with vinegar, acid base, we get back to the herbs. And so it's a way for women to holistically heal our wombs. And so, yes, I sell yoni steams. I have a yoni kit. I have different blends to help with different times of the season for each particular woman.
Really?
And I also have available on my website a way for custom blends.
I love it. What's your website?
My website is www.preciouscargonc.com.
I love it.
Thank
I love
you.
it. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank
too.
you. Not only do we have holistic yoni steams, we also sell herbs individually for you to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
We have a line of teas called Herban Teas. They're loose leaf teas. They're all organic. I have about 5 different blends, flavors. So they're available on the website as well.
Awesome.
I also have a line of soy candles.
I love it. I love it.
All organic, no artificial dyes.
Yes.
We have herbs sitting right on top of the candles. So that way, that's the decor. So we don't put any coloring or anything in it. If there is coloring, it comes straight from our plants that we put into our candles.
I love candles, so I'll probably be getting some good organic candles.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
they have a 48-hour burn. They burn clean.
Okay.
So yeah, they don't explode like some of our competitors.
I know, right? These shows do. I love candles.
Suddenly, I want to change your candle.
Yes, sir.
I actually have some in the car, so I will bring them right up. I knew. Something told me. It wasn't something. It was my ancestors. They told me.
They told you, right?
Keep the candles in the trunk, child. So and those candles during the pandemic have gone retail.
Really?
So you can get them at Deep Roots Market, downtown Greensboro, as well as Weaver Street Market, which is at Raleigh.
Come on, sister.
Carborough, Hillsboro, and Chapel Hill.
I love it.
They're available if you wanted to buy black. They are available at Sensuous Scents. Shout out to my brother Fahim Hannah.
I get my incense from that brother.
I get my incense. I get my oil. Last week I said, Fahim, I need some frankincense. And he said, do you want some from the Sudan or from the Niger? And I said, I don't know. Let me take. And I picked one and he said, this one over here is from this is where our people, and I said, oh, I need to smell like my ancestors.
Come on now.
And he was like, this is what our ancestors smell like.
Yes,
and so
sir.
this has been our running joke. So every time
it.
I see him, get all your oils from Sensuous Scents, because it's the real deal.
It really
he is the bomb. You need to buy black when we're buying from. It's the craziest thing for me to buy a comedic symbol from a white person. I'd be like, oh my goodness, can I get to my spirituality without going through you somehow, some way? No, really.
No, you're right. Yes.
And so to be able to go to Fahim's shop and to see all of the things that I need to clean my house or to cleanse my altar, to be able to get it from this brother who I know is knowledgeable.
Yeah, he really is.
About what?
Yeah.
Knowledgeable.
And I want to have him on. We spoke while I was in his shop not too long. It might have been a couple of months ago, though. And I just haven't had the time to reach out to him. And now we're going to go ahead and make that connection.
Please, because he's amazing.
Man, he is.
I love him.
And I think he said he was like a third generation to what he does.
Family business.
It's a family business. So he has a beautiful story, and I'm definitely want to have him on.
Yes. Shout out to Fahim. Shout out to black businesses.
Yes.
Shout out to family businesses.
Come on now.
Shout out to black entrepreneurs. It's hard out here.
I love it.
We got to stay together.
We got to stay together.
Absolutely.
And Precious, thank you so much for this has been a wonderful conversation for me. I believe we really were able to tap in a real way, not a fake way. And
this was so genuine.
It was so genuine, right? And your name speaks for itself because you are Precious Cargo.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are precious to our community. Know you're precious to your family. And thank you so much for being a part of the Ross Cloud podcast. Shout out to Mike Anderson, man. That dude know how to come through, don't he? Connections, right? You
Networking matters.
Yes. It really does. And we're going to go ahead and close out. And can you say something again positive to our listeners? And then as well, again, tell the folks how they can connect with you on social media.
So I will end with one of my favorite quotes by Dr. Maya Angelou.
Oh, yes.
God puts rainbows in the clouds in our dreariest, most dreaded moments so we can see the possibility of hope.
Right on. So, I love it. So how can the folks contact you?
You can contact me by
and follow you
on Facebook at Precious Cargo NC. Also Precious Bradley on Facebook. You can contact me on Instagram at Precious Cargo NC. Personal at PB_killing KILLIN_MEM. PB killing them. And you can find me on the internet. Always a good Google first, but if not, www.preciouscargonc.com.
I absolutely love you. Thank you again, Precious.
Thank you
for coming aboard. This is the Ross Cloud podcast. I'm your host, Car.Ross Sr. Make it a great day and keep being great. Peace.